Finally.
We got him.
What's up? Thanks.
Sandro, welcome to the show, man. Really happy to have you on here. First of all, did you see any of Alexander's interview just there? Could you see any of that?
Yeah, I saw most of it. I gotta say, I mean, I don't hate the Vikings. I have a lot of level of respect for them.
Okay.
I always loved playing against them because not because I hated them, but because they're just the best team to play. So it was always like that. Even back then, like I think you said, was Maxi Radetsny? He wasn't on the thing, right? But
Yep.
that's how you pronounce his name, Radetsny, because I played him in the youth and he always destroyed every inside run that we had. So
Really?
I just want to
Wow.
let you know. Yeah.
There we go. And there's how we have the pronunciation, bro. Yeah, that's the thing. Like I love that Vikings Raiders rivalry that you guys have. I mean, that's one of the coolest ones in Europe. And as of late, the Vikings have been having a little bit more success. How do you feel about that? And do you think that in the coming future the Raiders will be able to turn that around?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, obviously, when I was watching from New York, still, that was kind of a thing. It's like, man, I can't believe like, how do we not beat the Vikings anymore? Like we used to. And that was a big reason and why I wanted to come back. Just kind of like what Alexander just said.
Yeah.
Obviously everything kind of was a little different. So I'm really focused on my recovery and medicine right now. But yeah, I
Speaking
hope
of
so. I hope. I think week 2, right? Is it week 2? Raiders are playing the Vikings.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, it's gonna be a big one.
Yep.
Yeah. Speaking of is recovery, how is your rehab going with your knee?
It's going well. It's going really well. I wanted it to be like a record 6-month recovery, and I kind of know, like I've seen Saquon recover. I've seen some Giants players, and when you have like a complicated ACL, like 6 months is really not possible. But I was trying to see if I can maybe do it in January, and then I was going to be in the US doing some workouts for the UFL. But I kind of go the more healthy route. Actually, take the 10 to 12 months. I think I'll be around that range. Like, I think Wanda Robinson for the Giants did it last year. Saquon did around that range. So Sterling Shepard did. I think it's I'm doing everything for it. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, man, that's great, and everyone wants to see you get back on the field. You touched a little bit on the New York Giants stuff. Obviously, everybody knows about your time in the NFL with the New York Giants. You were over there for a while, man. Can you talk to us just a little bit about that experience and how that shaped you and grew you as both a football player and as a man off the field, being able to play for the New York Giants?
Yeah, it was a great time. Obviously, the first year was kind of tough with COVID. Like, there was no preseason games. I knew I was not going to get any reps in practice because there's no chance they're going to put in somebody that hasn't even played college football.
Yeah.
So the first year was kind of tough. Obviously, second year, I was really motivated. I kind of felt like I can do this, and I showed that in the first game against the Jets. I had a great time. I met a lot of great people, not just players, but people on the organization. The team doctor who's a great guy. Some orthopedic doctors that work for the team that I've just interned with in January in New York. So that's really cool. So some really good people. I'm really glad I made that experience, and I would have, even if I might have gotten more plays on different teams. I would never want to do it differently.
Yeah. Sandro, talk about just your thoughts on what the European League of Football is doing in terms of increasing the talent in the competition of the games themselves, because I know you played most of your career, or if not all of your career, before in the Austrian Football League. When you came back and you saw the competition, what did you think of it?
I think it definitely got a little better. I think there's definitely more talent. There's more hype about it. Just more media attention and everything. I think they're doing a good job with that, and it's hard to say. Like I was kind of curious at it. I was like, I've never played, all these teams and Munich Ravens, whatever. So I was excited that obviously it kind of didn't really work. barely ever played, because of injury wise. But when I did play a few snaps, I feel like, I mean, I think it got better. I think it definitely, and it's getting better every year. Like, I think Coach Jordan Newman said it recently, right? That Americans used to be better at football, and nowadays it's not always the case. You get an American player to Europe, and then he ends up not necessarily being much better than some of the best Europeans playing here. I think that speaks speaks a lot.
Exactly, man. And I mean, you're a great example of that. I mean, you play. I remember playing you, man. I don't know if you remember this. It was 2016. It was for the Big Six. Okay, and you were young back. You were like 18, 19. And I remember.
I think that was my. Yep.
Be like, dude, this guy is like a European Christian McCaffrey. I mean, I was really impressed with it back then. And you're just a great example of the talent that we've got here in Europe. And it kind of plays to what Coach Jordan Newman was saying there as well. I know you got to play. I know your season was cut short last year, but you got to get on the field with your brother, right? How was that coming back after all the time in the States to be able to take the field with your brother?
It was cool. I mean, quite honestly, I mean, we played together in the youth, especially at U12. When I was like 9 and 10, he was 11 and 12. We played together. And then obviously, was it 2014, 15 to 19? That was 5 years of playing together,
Yeah.
Basically winning everything. And we kind of got into like, we always took like this picture with the trophy after every game or after every year, because we always won some championship every year. And that was a lot of fun. Last year, I mean, it's really that's one of the things that I really was looking forward to again. Obviously, I was kind of like focused on. I was kind of playing with an injury back then. I was playing with that foot injury. I was like on painkillers. I was focused on that, so I kind of couldn't really take it all in, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I kind of, so sometimes you have plans and it doesn't work out. It just, you got to accept it. That's kind of part of the game, right?
For sure, man. There's a lot to learn within football off the season or off the field as well. And Sandro, I don't know if you have any concrete plans yet for this year, this upcoming season. Do you know? Are you going to be playing with the Raiders again, or is that something that you made a decision on?
I have not yet. I mean, like I said, I had so much on my plate, kind of rethinking my entire like plan about where I want to do medicine, what I want to do.
Right.
I can't do UFL anymore, which I was trying to do. It's not really making sense because I won't be healthy until probably like June or so.
Yep.
So the only other league that would really be, and obviously the NFL with the new international rules, possibly, that can always come up. But I talked to some of the teams, or my agent did, and they kind of want to see me healthy again. After an ACL, you can't just sign someone, especially if I wasn't like Saquon Barkley. But obviously CFL is still kind of a deal, which I considered last year as well. I'm probably gonna go with medicine just because I don't know for sure. You never know 100%. Like, is your knee gonna be fine? Is it not gonna be fine? Like, something to realize if when you tear your ACL and like that, you can't walk for a while. It's like, well, football is not for everybody, or like football is not forever. That's what I want to say. And so I'm kind of focusing on. If I'm staying in Europe, I'm definitely focusing on medicine. That's what I want to do, and that's what I've always done. Like, even when I played for the Raiders from 2016, well, 2015 I was still in school, but 2016 to 19 I was in medical school. Like, that's what I did next to football. So it was not just football only that I did. I think in Europe that's kind of like the way it is. It's like it's not like a full-on pro job. It's like a half semi-pro thing compared to the US, which I had the last few years. So I think that's really how I approach it.
Exactly, man. Yeah, like you got to take everything into your life into account. The off the field stuff, what you're doing off the field, of like where you and some people in the chat, somebody did say Frankfurt would suit you. Oh, and then somebody else said rehabbing definitely makes you reflect. Yeah, that's for damn sure, man.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's a mental thing you go through. Definitely. Like, I had a lot of things on my plate in the past. Even being a European in NFL is a big challenge. Mentally as well. And I've dealt with some injuries before, but this is something different, you know. And it's, you know what, I always say this, maybe it's something that I needed to go through, because that's the people I want to treat in the future as an orthopedic doctor is patients just like myself right now. You know, it's like, and the only way you can do it is like, how many doctors are out there that actually had an ACL to recover from and go back to professional sports? Like, I think if you can do that and kind of experience it, that's the best way to kind of be able to treat people in the future. So I think in a way you always got to see the positives, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Sandra, I always admired you and the way you played. I think the first time I saw you play was probably around the same time that Nick played against you, because I think I might have just watched the highlights or tuned in that game just because I knew Nick was playing in that game. And you were the first European player that I looked at and thought, wow, there's actually some really talented players out here. The way you even moved on the field was different than any of the things I had seen before. And so what you've done for the sport is huge, and I'm excited to see how you just continue to impact the game here.
I appreciate it. I mean, to be honest, I talked to Lourinho Walsh. Did you play with him once? I think you might have. Maybe not. He played for Frankfurt, I think.
Oh,
yeah. And yep. And he lives in the US, right? Sometimes he would like fly to New York, and he would kind of come to my apartment, and like we would hang out, or we would just walk like the park or something. And he would ask me this, and I was like, because he asked me like, how did you, like, the moves you do is like, it's different for some people. And I truly believe that it's from watching all those highlights I've always watched. Like, I used to watch Christian McCaffrey like every night before I went to sleep when I was like, I don't know, when I was young, you know. And not just him. Before him, there was Adrian Peterson, there was Tavon Austin. You know, everybody knows his tape. So I kind of always watched that growing up. Like, and people notice in the U19 national team, like, ask anybody in the national team camps, like when everybody kind of went to sleep and everyone was like on their phone texting somebody, I was like watching highlights the whole time. And maybe that's something that I picked up, because, you know, we always had great players. We had great running backs on the Raiders with Andy Hofbauer and Florian Grind before me, and we had some great Americans. But I think watching the YouTube clips or watching all those kind of runs from people, like growing up and then kind of doing it yourself, like that's kind of how I feel like that's kind of affected me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And by the way, I want to give a shout out to Nelf's. I think is it on Netflix, or was it was some kind of streaming service?
It's on Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime, right? Because I watched it when I was in New York.
Yeah.
I watched it. Yep. And it was interesting to see it from a different perspective, because we saw it like, well, there's Schwäbisch Hall coming to town, and they're kind of like the second best team in Germany, and I think we played really well that game. I think.
Oh yeah, man! I gotta
say
say that obviously that game was a key point in the movie, and I had to edit that, and so I had to you know, editing takes such a long time, and so I had to go over that footage of you just toasting us over and over again, man, just for months, staring at this like editing footage of you just juking me. I'm like falling over, and so it's really ingrained in my mind. So on one hand, I'm very mad at you, but on another hand, I'm very happy because it turned out to be an important movie. But bro, that's for real ingrained in my mind. That game, I'll never forget that, man. And that was the first time I saw you play.
I appreciate it.
It's just awesome to see what you've done since then and what you've gone on to accomplish. And just super excited for what you continue to do, man, both in the football world and in the medicine world, or perhaps even a combination, man. I know the European League of Football is just, you know, thrilled to have you involved. So I know everyone hopes that, you know, where you'll end up back at an ELF team, or if not, at another even higher level football, man. So we're all rooting for you.
I appreciate it. And I got to say too about Silas. I mean, I watched that Italian Bowl. You know what I'm talking about. And I remember that spin move you had at the end. I kind of like, I was watching. I was like, I gotta try to put that in my game, you know, because I wasn't. Spin moves is what I do when I'm like in the zone, like when I'm in the game for a while. I'm like, you know, you need to get like a couple carries to kind of get going. That's when I start my spin moves. I don't just do it like out of the get go. Like I never did. I don't think I ever had a spin move in the NFL, like playing in a game. In practice, yes, but like, you know what I mean? And that was, I still remember that play. That was pretty nice.
I appreciate that. Yeah, man. For me, it was more like if you accidentally hit B on the controller a lot.
That's what it looks like. But it's almost like a that's what you say, but maybe it's more like a street football. How do you call that? Game breaker or something like that.
Yeah,
that's great. You two guys are just like nightmares for guys like me, defensive guys.
I for sure have a few spin moves on Nick. For sure.
Honestly, this room right now is giving me PTSD because both of you guys have done terrible things to me on the football field.
Do you feel triggered right now? Do you feel triggered?
I'm pretty triggered. Chat, back me up here. Give me some.
I'm triggered. I'm triggered.
Yeah, you guys both are imprinted in my mind. That's why I'm retired now, so that doesn't happen to me anymore.
Sandro, is great having you here. I know it took us like 7 months to get you on here. I'm glad
that was crazy. Yeah.
How
many weeks? I think it was just now, like because he wasn't up here, right? Just the technique.
Just took a long time.
We just had technical problems every week.
Yeah, I don't know. It was Nick's fault.
It's on me, guys. It's on me. Blame it on the defensive guy. Always. Sandro, thank you so much, brother. Keep us updated on everything that you're doing. Good luck with the rest of your rehab and whatever you are doing on the football field. Good luck, and thanks for coming on the show, brother.
I appreciate it. All the best.
Yeah, all the best, Sandro.